If I reach down with my right hand to grip the club where I normally would, you can see how it pulls this shoulder forward, okay? Well, as it pulls it forward, it gets it in a position where it's going to level up very quickly in the takeaway, and then it's actually going to come over the top of the left shoulder on the way down. Hey golfers, Tony McMullen, the founder of Smart Golf Academy here. Today we're going to talk about your grip. Specifically, can your grip, or does your grip, create an issue when you slice the ball? Is there a relationship to that? And the answer is yes. But before we get into that, we would love it if you give us a like and a subscribe to our channel. We're going to give you some great information today. If you look back through some of the videos that we've posted in the last year or so, we've put out some great content that's really helping people to enjoy the game more, to increase their performance more, and just give them a better understanding of what the golf swing is about and how you want to use it and how you want to improve it to enjoy the game more. So if you give us a like and a subscribe, we'd love it. We're putting out some great content, and we're pretty sure that we can put out something that's going to help you to improve your game as well. So on to the question, if you will. If you slice the ball, does your grip have a direct effect on the reason why you're slicing the ball? The answer is yes, okay? Is it the entire reason why you're slicing the ball? No. Generally, what I've seen over the years is it's a combination of a suspect grip and a not so good setup that usually creates the slice. But we're going to talk about the grip today, and that's going to help you to understand how that affects the club face, your path, and your playing, okay? So as always, I like to give a little bit of cause and effect and understanding with these things. If you're someone who slices the ball, you have three things present in your golf swing. You have an over-the-top move. Now, the over-the-top move itself is not a bad thing, but when it comes into play the way I'm going to describe it, it creates issues. So the three things you would have in your swing if you slice the ball would be an out-to-in path, a steep path to the golf ball, and an open club face. So what that's creating for the right-handed golfer is a ball that curves very, very hard from left to right as you're hitting it. That's the one you got to go over in the other fairway and get and hold up that side of the golf course while you hit your next shot, okay? If you're someone who hits the ball fairly straight or possibly even a draw, you have the exact opposite of those three things. You'd have a more shallow swing path, a more in to out path, and you'd have a club face that may be either square or slightly closed. That would be preferable, slightly closed to the path you're swinging on. So in other words, you'd have a club face that's, if you're swinging in to out, is more at the target while your swing path is actually slightly right of it, okay? How does your grip factor into that? Okay, most people when they grip the club, and we've talked about this before, if we gripped a golf club where our hands were just, over top of each other like this, when we set up, our shoulders and our hips and our knees would all be going the same direction, okay? So that would eliminate a lot of the problem. But the other aspect that we'd have with that grip is that our shoulders would be level, okay? Most people when they set up that slice the ball, when they set up, they're slightly tilted, if you're a right-handed player, to the right, but by the time they hit the golf ball, the right shoulder, the trail shoulder, is above the lead shoulder. There's your over-the-top move, okay? If you go over the top with an open club face, that's a recipe for a big slice, okay? Your grip, believe it or not, directly affects that, all right? If I grab the club, okay, because I reach further away with my right arm, and if you go back a couple of videos, you're going to see that we talked about this, okay? If I reach down with my right hand to grip the club where I normally would, you can see how it pulls this shoulder forward, okay? Well, as it pulls it forward, it gets it in a position where it's going to level up very quickly in the takeaway, and then it's actually going to come over the top of the left shoulder on the way down, okay? If you grip the club and your right hand is rotated to the top of the golf club here, like this, you can see where my right arm is now extended, okay? Simple fix for that. We want to strengthen that grip a little bit. So in other words, when you grip the club, your left hand rotate it a little bit more to the right and get that crease between thumb and forefinger pointing up at the right shoulder, okay? And then you want to do the same thing with your right hand. you want to reach from underneath the club here, and as you reach underneath, you're going to feel that right shoulder go down, and you're going to reach underneath the club, and you're going to lay it in your hand, and then when you close your hand around it, now you're going to have a lower right shoulder, and both of the creases in both hands between thumb and forefinger are going to point at my right shoulder, okay? Now, what does that do for us? Well, it does a couple of things. Number one, it gets the right shoulder lower, and it gets it in a position where it's going to stay level at the worst, but underneath at the best of your left shoulder, okay? That promotes you hitting up on the ball, okay? So we by that grip change, we've gotten a little better path, a little more in to out instead of out to in. And secondly, and more importantly, if I put my hands where they are rotated to the right, that means the club face is going to turn over sooner, okay? So let's go back a step. Remember what I said. If you slice the ball, there are three things that are present. You have an out to in swing path. You're also very steep, which means your right shoulder is higher than your left shoulder. And then on top of that, you have an open club face, okay? So to fix that, people who hit the ball straighter with a little bit of draw, and say it again, they're more shallow, they're more in to out, and they have a club face that's slightly closed to the target. Well, let's talk about that for a second, okay? My right hand underneath, both V's are going the same direction. So what do we know about that? Number one, it gets our right shoulder lower. So now our path is a little better back to the golf ball. But secondly, and more importantly, it gets the club face to do what? To close quicker. We no longer have that open club face. So the long and the short of it is this. Your grip, how you grip the club, has a direct influence on the club face. And it can, I say can because I'm speaking in generalities here, it can make a considerable difference in the path and plane that you swing on as well. So pay attention to your grip. If you're someone who slices the ball, let's start to make that correction as far as the grip goes by making your grip not neutral, certainly not weak, but a little bit stronger. And then we can address the setup to make the final changes, and you will fairly soon, worst case scenario, you'll hit a little buttercut, just a little slight fade. Best case scenario, you'll start hitting those beautiful high draws right down the middle of the fairway. For more tips like these, go to smartgolfacademy.org, the online academy. There are all kinds of tips and videos on there that's going to make you a better player.